We're back live, and I'm going to go to a bunch of your phone calls. At the bottom of the hour, I want to play this video clip of Nigel Farage, member of the European Union Parliament from England. He's refused to apologize. There's the PrisonPlanet.com headline, a joking headline. MEP Farage apologizes to bank clerks. But I'm going to have Kurt, when he puts the InfoWars version up, say refuses to apologize. I mean, I get the joke, but that's coming up. And I've got a bunch of other news we haven't even gotten to yet that we're going to be breaking down. But I want to go to your calls. I'm going to give each caller about a minute and a half to go to the next person. We're going to go to Bob in Ohio first. Bob, you're on the air.
Hey, it's an honor, Alex. A ex-veteran, just a quick rundown. What they know down the road is they're going to implode the economy even worse. When you got half of Detroit not wanting to finish high school, okay, when they implode...
Half of Detroit is out of work.
Yeah, I know that too. But when they really implode the economy because they refuse to address NAFTA and GATT and do a little protectionism for American workers and manufacturing industry.
Protectionism built this country, and they know, and the roving hordes of criminals, they're going to try to take our guns so we can't protect ourselves and then make us go along with the police.
I am a very strong supporter of you and for people having guns. But if you remember Braveheart, Uncle Carlisle said to the young boy, Mel Gibson, when he was a child, he said, first, he tapped him in the head, first learn to use this, and then he pointed to the sword and held the sword, and then I'll teach you how to use this. And I am a very strong gun supporter, and I'm glad you brought that talking point up about the gun show, because what they're doing is they're getting ready to really make things really
Can you
bad.
believe they're grabbing toy guns that don't even shoot BBs, metal BBs?
Yes, because what they need to do is get the replicas off the market, because it's going to get so bad in this country, people and children and women are going to start using replicas and all
to scare people away. Exactly, because, and great point, Bob, I appreciate your call. That's exactly what's happening. It's growing the gun culture because a lot of people are too afraid to buy a BB gun. They're too afraid to buy a real firearm. So it goes BB guns, firearms. But below that, you've got these paintballs, and I've seen the feds going after those, and that are air-powered, and going after these airsoft that shoot the little plastic pellets. And people are having wars with them. They're learning marksmanship. Look, here's the deal. Why do I support the Appleseed movement, the firearms training for citizens everywhere? Because we're relearning our heritage. I mean, when I was 14, folks, I'd been shooting guns since I was 4 years old, and I really got into it, and I could shoot to the same hole on a good day at 200 yards if there wasn't any wind. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. I could shoot through the same hole. Now, 200 yards, I can, shoot a pattern about that big with, say, a 30-06. I'm still a great marksman. A few times I get to go deer hunting. I won't even shoot deer up close or wild hogs. I'll wait till I see one 600 yards away because I want a little bit of challenge. And what I really learned to shoot good with was a .22 rifle, single shot, just walking around out in the woods, out in the hills and dales of our family ranch, where my dad learned to shoot, where his dad learned to shoot, where his dad learned to shoot, all the way back. And the women were tough. I mean, you look at photos of my great-grandmother riding around with that, just a .22 saddle gun, riding around, running the cattle. They got black and white photos of it. It's just so amazing to see those free people out there. And women were tough, and women were strong, and women defended themselves. And when America did go to war, the Germans in World War I were terrified of Americans. Because it didn't matter if you were from New York or Texas or Tennessee or California. Americans were just dreaded. Because Germans weren't brought up compared to Americans shooting as many firearms. Because they didn't let, their slaves be armed. Only the wealthy really had the money and the licenses to hunt. And, the Germans were tough and fought and were intelligent fighters, but, they could brush the British aside, they could brush the French aside, they could brush the Russians aside. But when the Americans showed up, it was doom. Since then, they've destroyed much of the gun culture, gotten people in big cities, banned the high school shooting clubs that even New York City had just 20 years ago. And so mothers get scared of guns. They get scared of BB guns. Oh, my kid can't have a BB gun. You'll shoot your eye out. And yeah, if your kid's got BB guns and was bad kids with no training, that will happen. Just like running in the street will happen with no training. And I said I'd go to your calls, but now I'm ranting on this subject. But really the last 5 years, but I've really noticed the last 2, masses of people are getting into airsoft. I mean, you go to Walmart, which I never go to, but I've seen it there the few times I've been there. You go to Academy, where I go, big sporting goods chain all over Texas. They've got double aisles in the sporting goods of airsoft. I mean, people are, while you're there, just grabbing them, buying them. I tried to buy some more at Christmas. Almost everything was sold out. And you've got women grabbing them, men grabbing them. And they're going out, they're shooting them, they're learning marksmanship, then they're buying real guns. And it's this doorway into the gun culture that they cannot stand. 10 years ago in Texas, they tried to pass a law banning Junior Olympics, banning 4-H shooting clubs, banning YMCA shooting clubs, banning people under the age of 18 being a part of this. We beat that bill. They've tried it all over the country. They want to kill the gun culture, and all the polls show the majority of people are swinging back to a pro-gun culture. They were drinking the Kool-Aid 20, 30 years ago, and they're panicking. And so the ATF just lawlessly shows up and says, I say you can't have this toy gun, and just does it. It's illegal. You heard him. He talked to the head ATF regulation import people in D.C., and they said, what on earth? You give them my number. You tell them, call me. And he calls up and tells them they don't even want to hear it. So they're showing us who they are, and they cannot stand you. And folks, buy a book on gun safety or go to a gun shooting range, pay a guy, $30 that works there to give you an hour lesson. Because even with airsoft or anything, you must train your children first how the gun works. You must show them how to use it. They must do it the first 10 or 15 times you take them out in the backyard to shoot the airsoft or wherever you go shoot it, shooting at tin cans or whatever the case is, that if they don't do everything just right, hold at their side, never aim at anyone, then the first time they do something wrong, you say, I'm taking it away from you for a week. And then they'll remember. And then you train them on that. You train them as if it's a real gun. Once you've learned basic safety yourself, for those that aren't in the culture of liberty, we want you to join us. It's an open hand. Stand with George Washington in 1776. Be an armed, free person. And then after they know their gun safety for a year with an airsoft, get them a BB gun. Only let them take it out, lock it up when you're with them. And they will be completely gun safety for the rest of their lives. It's like dog training. You must pass on the liberty. You must pass the sword on generation after generation. You must not allow them to gouge you, to castrate you. Okay, I just spent 10 minutes on that. Let's go to calls. Scott in Arizona, you're on the air.
Hey, Alex, thanks for taking the call. Hey, I know it's been a little while since I think you've had Dr. Labo on, and I just want to bring to everybody's attention the wonderful John McCain, who's running re-election commercials here in Arizona, talking about how he's not for big business and how he's fighting Obama, has introduced this Dietary Supplement Safety Act. And there is I don't know if Dr. Labo has information on her foundation website to take direct action, but there is a website. I have no affiliation with them, but it's www.lef.org. LEF stands for Life Extension Foundation, and they have an article about this and what this act is set up to do, which is basically it's a step in the wrong direction in.
Well, McCain's introduced, as you know, legislation to restrict mainline vitamins under Codex Alimentarius. It just happened a month ago in Canada. This is really happening.
Yeah, it is. It is, and this particular act basically says that if the FDA suspects that there could be a problem with a product, with a particular supplement, they can take full control over that supplement, yank it off the shelves, give it over to the pharmaceuticals under use patents, and this supports completely putting dietary
just
supplements.
like the ATF has been given phony power to do whatever it wants outside law, just like the Environmental Protection Agency's listing carbon dioxide as a deadly nerve weapon. the most deadly thing ever known. I mean, it's ridiculous. Congress won't pass the law, so they just do it. Great points. In fact, I keep meaning to cover that McCain Act. Well, you got a search engine for me. We'll cover it coming up after some more calls. McCain bill to restrict supplements. It's been all over the mainstream news. And then there was that Toronto Star article about pharmacies told to pull supplements off shelves. They just said, period. This all must be prescription. And you've got the big pharma companies patenting fish oil, patenting vitamin C, patenting this. So you have to pay hundreds of dollars for fish oil or hundreds of dollars for vitamin C or Melaleuca oil or